Be ready to change yourself. Be ready to challenge your better self. Know that your mind can develop a passionate winning spirit, but not by yourself. We guarantee your family in love with your life, and you're gonna love all the grind. Lewis and Bars together, we develop your mindset with vitamin C for your mind. Don't you settle with what you know. There's much to learn, there's much to earn. Tell yourself I'm ready to fight, ready to be heard. Out of success and awakening rise. There's so many words that turn into prices. Be ready to change for the best. Step up and be great. Don't be like the rest. Develop your mindset.
Hi everybody, this is Develop Your Mindset podcast. One more time, Saturday, as usual, we do our podcast. This is number 73. Me and Luis, we've been doing this for a while now, and we've got a lot of content for you guys to go and check out. We talk all kinds of stuff, whatever happens in the company. Kabartsi is the company, is the jewelry company that we have, we work in, and stuff happens here, and we sit and talk about all kinds of experiences and stuff that we are not fond of, stuff that we are very excited about. Today it's different because this is 2020. As you guys know, it's been like hectic year. It's been like really insane, and we are almost the end of it. So we have month about to go, and we've been working really hard. We've been revamping, working, doing all kinds of stuff, many weeks, months now, and on the website, on the company, the designing, everything. So we've experienced a lot. So now that it's in the end of it, we got some concepts, ideas in our heads that we're trying to tackle, and we want to kind of like talk about stuff like this because we all go through all kinds of thoughts and feelings. Towards the end, we start getting a little bit agitated, or a little bit as like, you know, like the stove, the fire comes up a little bit. So things get a little bit faster, you boil your water a little bit faster, so to speak. So we are on that crunch, and our questionnaires are kind of designed in that manner, and we're gonna go for it. Before that, Luis is gonna say a few words.
Yeah, so here we are back again with another episode. So we are almost, at the end of the year, and so, this is where, pretty much, you're trying to get as much in as possible. And so, in this podcast episode, we're kind of going to share a little bit about like what you can do and how you can pretty much, make the most out of, this pretty much these last 2 months here, this month and of course, December, but, how to make the most out of them. And so we're going to be sharing some really good things with you guys. So make sure you watch till the end.
All right. So I'm going to go with the first question here that was in my mind, and we're going to be talking about this a little bit, which is, it goes like this: time crunch. Every time little bit different experience. So of course, like last year was different, and all the years that I've been in business is very different. Time crunch is always difficult because no matter how much you think you're ready, when the end comes, you're like, you start seeing what is not completed yet, like which line is not completed, or what you haven't received yet, or what you don't have enough yet. It's so crazy. Like really, it gets so overwhelming sometimes that you forget to how do you say, like, execute your plan that you've been working maybe like the whole 11 months. For the last 1 month, you want to execute it, and you want to bring in the bacon. And if you like if you get frustrated, sometimes you lose it. You can't do it correctly. Like you can't. It won't work as well as it will if you stay focused, if you stay really in the moment. So that's why time crunch is, sometimes some people will fall apart, some people will come victorious, and that is all, again, it's a mindset that you should develop, have a thick skin, and whatever you have to make it work. You know, you have to be resourceful, so to speak, and you gotta make things work. So, I mean, I can talk about this longer and longer, but I think pretty much kind of I put it out there in a nutshell. Yeah.
Yeah, so time crunch, and every time it's a little bit of a different experience. So yeah, I mean, I think we pretty much discussed this in the previous podcast. We spoke about having like very limited time and like being able to just squeeze as much things as possible. So there is sort of a sense of like urgency when it comes to crunching your time, and so it's important that you have a purpose and that you have something that you're going after, and that you have, this is where it really matters when you have like massive goals, because the bigger your goal is, the more the harder it's going to be to get it. And so knowing that almost it's the end of the year, this is really the time when you start to really push yourself, and you're really trying to get as close as possible to those goals, or even achieve the goals. So you at least want to try your best and do everything that you possibly could in order to make it happen. So definitely very effective, and make sure you use the you crunching your time, use that properly to be able to make the most out of your time, and be able to make the most out of your efforts and your energy.
Very nice. I'm going to move on to the next, which is like, remember why you are working for your goals. Sometimes we forget. We have dreams and goals and whatnot. We start. In the middle of it, we get so busy, we change so much, that in the end we kind of forget why we started doing it in the first place. What I'm saying is, like, it's okay to change your idea, your opinion about some stuff, but I feel like even if you do change it, you shouldn't completely forget about the initial motivation, the up going. I think that's where the fire resides, and you have to kind of like remember that. Always remind yourself why you're working, what was the goal, what was the reason you started doing it for. Unfortunately, in human nature, people change, and there are different change in life. It could be you moved somewhere else, the environment change, or it could be somebody offer you more money. The money is a big changing, how do you say, like a tool, or it's a catalyst. Then change, like God forbid something bad happened to you. You got sick, you got something happened to your eye or something, you change. But in the end, like, no matter what kind of change it comes or happens, don't forget what was the first thing you started, the reason. And because the reason is very powerful, because you could have done anything at that point. Then you found a reason to do something, and then that reason was very powerful for that moment. And then that reason could take you all the way and beyond. So what I'm saying is, like, for me, this is true. This is why I'm saying it this way, because I never forget the reason why I started certain things, and why I don't give up on them, because there was a purpose, a moment where the frustration and I don't want to say negative stuff, but let's say frustration brought me to that point, and I had a reason to start something, and I'm gonna make it come true no matter what. It's like, if you guys listen to a lot of motivational speeches, or a lot of business gurus, they all talk about this, which is like, no matter how hard it gets, you have to go through it. This is where this takes you. So don't forget the reason.
Yeah, so always remembering like why you started and what your purpose is. It's extremely important, because that's really what's gonna get you through, like, those difficult times and those struggles and pretty much the challenges that arise. and this applies pretty much to any journey that you pursue. You know, it doesn't necessarily yeah. So, yeah, it doesn't. Well, yeah, that and also like it doesn't necessarily apply like to pretty much just the things that you don't like, because there's things that of course you're gonna have a passion for. Even if you have a passion for it, you're still gonna go through some struggles, because no journey is easy. No matter how much passion you have, no matter how motivated you are, you're still gonna face struggles. And so it's very important that you know exactly like why you're doing what you're doing, and once you have that very clear, and it actually that's something that you actually genuinely want to do, then make sure you push yourself, because in the end you're gonna come out better, you're gonna come out smarter and stronger. And so by you doing that, that's extremely beneficial to you, and at that moment, because you're gonna get a good result, but also in the long term, because you'll learn what it's like to push yourself and really put in extra energy and effort when it's required.
All right. Next goes like this, which is, why do we feel a little different when we get to the end? I mean, I guess we do sometimes, and not much time left. When not much time left, when the time is running out, sometimes panic sets in. There's all kinds of panic when you're doing business. When before destination, when your gas is running out, that's a freaking panic. I've been there. Sometimes I see people where they're not ready to change, but the time had ran out in relationships or in friendships, and then the other person's panicking. I've seen that too. So there's always that panic in the end, and then you gotta control it. You have to learn how to control the panic, because that could cause a lot of harm in your sleep and in your well-being, all kinds of stuff. So when not much time left, you have to I don't know. I guess you're just gonna keep on doing. If the clock runs out, whatever, you just do your best. You're not gonna win all the time. I mean, there's no such thing. You just do it. If you win, that's awesome. I guess we have to make sure that we win more than we lose. So you're always more victorious than you're losing. So just control your anger, your frustrations, and it'll be fine. There's always the next journey.
Yeah. So why do we feel different, when we're getting closer to the end? Well, when you're getting closer to the end, you start to sort of realize, like how much time you actually have left, and you start to assess, how much is left to be done. And so, at that moment, it really comes down to if you really care about actually, hitting the goal or not. Like if you really don't care, I mean, it's not really gonna hit you at a superior level. Like, yeah, like you're towards the end, but if you don't really care about any sort of objective, then whatever, like time runs out, who cares? You didn't even care about it anyway. So, but if it's something that you do care about and it really matters to you, you start to there's this like you were saying, you start to panic. I mean, for me, it's more like there's more like a rush of adrenaline. You kind of get that feeling, and you pretty much have control over how you want to interpret and really label that feeling and use it appropriately. So whether you want to use that feeling to fuel you, to get you to do more, start thinking a little faster, start moving faster. Pretty much you kind of start putting pretty much everything that you start to put it into use, and you start to you start to remove things that don't really matter at that point, and you start to focus really on what is it that really matters here, and where do I have to put my attention 100%, and really laser focus into just that, and pretty much ignore everything else, because you kind of have to do that. And so that's extremely helpful. And yeah, that's
I
pretty much.
agree on the word laser focus. So true. A lot of things happen, and that laser focus doesn't divert your eyes or your mind away. That's how it works. Next is, can you add more designs or ideas? Because we're a jewelry company, this is what we do. But if you're, I don't know, if you're a mechanic, maybe you want to think a little bit differently. If you are, catering business, you're going to little bit think differently. But in the end, it comes down to, can you add to designs or idea for us, when you are in the end of the journey. See, this is the thing. I was talking to Luis earlier, and I was telling him that this is very powerful because sometimes we lack the motivation or self-esteem to do some more. We're always holding back, like, I don't want to spend the money now, I don't want to make any designs now, and then, or I don't want to go for it yet, let me wait. And then in the end, when the journey is ending, you're like, basically, we're probably going to some jewelry show, and if we don't have all the designs and ideas for us ready, it's going to be not very good experience over there. We might have had some better sales over there, maybe, but if if it's in the end and we're not ready for it, it's really messed up. So basically, what I'm saying is, you gotta pay the price from beginning, not in the end. You gotta push it. You gotta put some more hours. You gotta borrow whatever money you need to borrow, or idea or anything, and get your shit together, like, really nice designs and idea, everything ready to go. When the end of the journey is there, you're gonna go and you're gonna just you're gonna show up with full idea and presence and everything that you're working towards. So this is very powerful. Don't lack. Lack is not a good for any journey. Don't wander off, not a good journey either. I like to have very organized journey. So I've said it long time ago in the podcast, I'm saying it again, organize your journey. You can actually do it. Write it down, organize it, and make sure you understand the steps that you wrote down, and then tackle it and finish it and get it done. So it's very powerful. It's a different mindset. You got to do it ahead of time. You can't wait for the end of the journey.
Yeah, so I agree with the fact that, yes, you should organize your journey right from the get-go, right from the start, because it does help you, throughout the journey to know exactly, like, what you're going to be doing, what kind of resources you're going to be needing, and, so on and so forth. And that's extremely helpful because, along your journey, there's going to be a lot of distractions and a lot of things that you might want to add in. And you have to be very disciplined and know that, okay, you know what? I have a specific process, I have a specific system or whatever, and, I'm going to stick to that. And so that's pretty much how I pretty much, like, when I do my stuff, I pretty much have like a set of steps, and I pretty much try to, I stick to those steps. And, if somebody else comes in with an idea, well, that idea pretty much gets put to the side, actually. that idea, pretty much gets put to the side because, I'm very, like, strict about, like, following a specific, structure, and not necessarily, because once you start to add something, then that can pretty much compromise everything moving forward, and it could change everything else moving forward. So you have to be very careful with that. And so, you decide, ultimately you decide how you want to work and what works for you, but you really have to pretty much test that and see if you're able to really, if you want to constantly be improvising and constantly being, like, adjusting, if you can maneuver that, by all means go for it. But if that's not your thing and you prefer a more structured, a more like step 1, step 2, we're going to try this for a certain amount of time and see if that works. If that doesn't work, we're going to do this and that. Then go with that approach, but definitely organize yourself and, know exactly, like, what you're doing. That way, at the end you're not like lost and everything's like all over the place, and now you don't know where exactly you need to what you need to do, and so last minute you're just making decisions that may not be the best ones, but you're making them because you were doing random things throughout the entire year or the journey, and so now you're like trying to just save yourself. So make sure you just do it from the get-go and avoid going through something like that.
All right, sounds good. Hopefully this is this kind of talk and idea we're putting out there, it's going to help you guys to remember and work really hard, so you can finish your year really successful. So next is your strength and your weak points on hiring people or outsourcing. So obviously we all have strong points and weak points in our company, in our life, in our friendships, and in our talent, whatever we're doing. Hopefully you are familiar with your weak point and your strength, so that will make it easier on you to when time is short, you can focus on your strength. That's where you're gonna what is the word, like that's where you're gonna finish more and you're gonna accomplish more, and then you're probably gonna make more money there, or you're gonna finish more, whatever you are working towards. And there are such thing that outsourcing. Now, if you have a really good friend or brother or sister or somebody that doing the same kind of work that you're doing, maybe you can outsource it to them. That will help you finish your order or product or whatever you are doing. For me personally, I don't like that. I don't believe in that much. I do outsource some stuff, but I like to finish everything in-house. If the company is not ready for it, then most likely we're not going to take that order. Most likely that order is not going to finish. There are exceptions in the rule. We can do stuff, but the thing is, you should be pushing yourself from beginning of the year. This is when the end of the year comes about. You have to be ready with machinery, with tools, and with firework. If you do some, whatever you're working with, you should have everything in house ready to go in a moment's notice. And when those orders come in, when all this like people start asking things from you, you should be so ready to go. There's no time to think about doing anything anymore. It's time to go. And so basically, for me personally, outsourcing is not so desirable, but if you have to do it, you're gonna do it. Otherwise, the moral of the story is you should be ready for the end of the year. There's no time to get ready anymore. So hopefully this is some mindset here, trying to explain that next year maybe start from beginning of the year.
Yeah, so knowing your strengths and your weak points, of course, that's extremely helpful, to know where you currently stand. That way you can focus on, whatever your strengths might be. And of course, your weak points as far as like, well, I'm not a business owner, so I can't really talk about like hiring or outsourcing, but, just, I guess an opinion here, just, as far as like outsourcing goes, I think it can be pretty helpful if you can, outsource things like as far as like your weaknesses go. Maybe not outsource the things. I guess you got to have a plan, as far as like how you're gonna outsource, because there might be things where, you want to have some sort of control, some say in the craft. So maybe those things you should not outsource because, you won't be able to have those. You won't be able to be there a real time. So if anything, I'd say outsource things that you really don't, you just kind of want to get it done. You don't really care as far as like too much as to like how it gets done, but you just want it done, then in that case you might want to consider outsourcing. But if you want to have like control as far as like, you know, how it's put together, the design, maybe you're a very creative person and you want to have say in the word, then maybe an in-house type of deal may be a little better, because you can actually see the entire process happening and you have control of modifying it, you know, as it's been made, as opposed to like outsourcing and just, you know, hoping for the best. So I think that's a decision that you got to make ultimately.
You're able to explain that pretty well. That last part was really good. Next is, what is the meaning of love the journey? We hear this a lot, and to me, yes, you gotta love what you do. When you start doing it, when you're getting there, of course you're gonna love it. Otherwise, you don't want to do it if you're not loving it. The thing here is, love the journey is a little bit. What is that word people use? Like it's like overly hurt, you know, overly said. So see, it's like again, like I said in the beginning, if you haven't been doing the hard work, you haven't been preparing everything in order, you're probably gonna not like the journey in the end. But if you were doing everything really well and really like setting up everything like in order, you're probably going to enjoy the end of it, because that's going to be like almost like a football team where they did their 50,000 hours of practice, and then that one game, 90 minutes, they're going to play like they're amazing, you know. But if you don't do that work, in the end, that 90 minutes is going to be horrible, and you're wishing that you never start playing, or you want to go home or something, you know, like not play. So love the journey is, yes, in the end, it's going to be lovely. It's going to be amazing if you do the you know, pay the price from beginning.
Yeah, so love the journey. I mean, I think when it comes to loving the journey, I think it comes down to really having a passion for what you're doing. Because here's the thing, I mean, I think what you were going for is more of a result-oriented love here, where it comes to like, you know, if you actually succeed, you know, then it's going to be awesome, amazing. But if you don't, like, it's not. Like for me, I actually when I choose a journey, I choose it more for, you know, for passion purposes, as opposed to chasing a result. Like I enjoy, like, you know, going through that journey, going through like the steps that it takes, you know, the practice, the hours, every single, you know, minute of it, because, you know, I want to enjoy every single minute of it, because at the end, you know, that's the result pretty much for me, is the journey itself, knowing that I'm doing something that I'm actually enjoying. And at the same time, you know, like I want to be able to you know, share here and there and provide value, you know, throughout that journey as well, and in any way possible. So you know, for me, it's more like yes, you know, love the journey, love the whatever struggle, whatever pain you go through, because, you know, that's really what makes it valuable. That really is what makes it something that's worth pursuing, especially if you love it. You know, there's that combination where, you know, you sort of have like that pain pleasure type of a, you know, duo there, where, you know, you kind of feel both at the same time, and it's really amazing when you're able to get to that point. And so yeah.
Alrighty. Next one is when you are at the end of your journey. Again, because we are talking about end of the year, kind of. Do you need to be outspoken? Or maybe being an introvert works best, and why? I don't know, man. Some people are outspoken, some people are very quiet. So some people think out loud, some people think internally. So when you're end of your journey, I don't know. I mean, both works, but I guess it's depending on the position you are holding, right? You could be behind the computer, and maybe you don't need to be outspoken a lot. But if you're behind the showcase trying to sell something, maybe you have to have. So the thing is like you have to understand yourself. You're introvert, you're outspoken. You gotta insert yourself in a position where you're gonna shine the best, and you're gonna when you are end of the journey, your effort's gonna pay off for what you are building towards, and especially if it's a company and like there's multiple people doing what they're doing to make this function as one. They all need to understand where they are, where they fit, and kind of like if you're introvert and you have some skills that you could talk to potential clients or sales, maybe you have to kind of gauge yourself what levels you can enter. So you have to understand where you are, what you're doing. I believe that everybody has their own space, their own place in the company, in the team, and you have to kind of I would consider myself kind of like both. I'm more introvert than outgoing, but I did practice, I did train myself to be behind showcase and sales, and it wasn't easy. It was like when I first went to my retail shop, I would ask my wife, what should I say? If they said they said this and they left, why? I don't understand what's going on here, because I was never dealing with anybody before that, I was always just the designer and just like in the house and leave me alone, So it took me a while. It took me years, actually, maybe more like 3 years until I started getting hang of it, and then it got easier and easier. But it's never easy. I always have to push myself to get out and confront the customer.
For sure.
So I do know where I stand, and this question is here for you to start thinking where you stand and what is your role.
For sure. I mean, it's important that you know actually what role you're playing, but I think it's important that you know who you are, your core first, because that by knowing like we're talking here, if you're an introvert or you're an extrovert, you can, by knowing that in of itself, it's like your foundation. So by knowing that, now you can build upon whatever it is, so if you're an introvert, you can start first of all, you work by actually embracing that part of you, and then you can start adding skills on top of that. You can still learn things about like extroverts and learn how to speak and everything else, but at least like who you are, and you can position yourself more properly within a company or within life in general. You know yourself, so you can put yourself in situations where your value is going to be the most, the output of your value is going to be at its maximum. And sure, of course, you can be either or, and you could, essentially work to be either or, but here's the thing, like, we're all limited on time here. It's not like we are going to live forever, which is why I feel like it's important that you know who you are, your foundation, and then position yourself properly right from the start. That way you can start providing value out to the world faster, as opposed to trying to like be something that you're not, and so you're going to be wasting time doing something like that. So it's better you just you embrace who you are and then move on from that. And yeah, I mean, like, the story that you were saying, that's crazy, because I kind of went through the same thing when I was working downstairs as a barista down there. At first I just couldn't, because I was doing sales. I was supposed to sell coffee, and at first, I was very nervous because I didn't talk,
Every
but
time it's like, not again.
yeah, pretty much. Like at first it was even like I would see somebody come into the shop, I would immediately go to the back and like try to like hide and be like, I'm busy, like I'll start like cleaning stuff, randomly, like I'm cleaning, like. But then eventually, I kind of like
face it.
I did face it, but also, I found a passion within, coffee, and then once I combined the passion with and I also trained myself too. Like I trained, I learned some techniques as far as like how to speak. I was selling coffee like crazy at that point. I was selling coffee left and right, like nothing.
Yeah, yeah. It's so weird. Like when you do something that you really like, you love. It's completely different. You're completely dedicated to that coffee and sales and everything. You're talking like you're the master of it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If you guys have any stories like that, let us know right down below. We'd love to hear from you guys too. If you're introvert and how you do this, we'd love to hear it from you too. So, do situations or moments in time change the rule? It does, or maybe it doesn't. That you are working towards, of course. And how would you reschedule or redesign your approach? So, man, again, if it's the end of the journey, whether it was 1 hour, your end of the 10 minutes, or if whether this was month or year or 5-10 years journey, it doesn't matter. When you are in the end, you should be, how do you say, like enjoying the fruit of your, how do you say it? The fruit of your whatever you plan, right?
Yeah.
Basically, you have to work so hard in the beginning to develop what you are working towards developing. You have to put your time. You have to be willing to pay the price. Again, like when I put in my head I want to do this, I got invited so many weddings, so many funerals, so many gatherings, so many weekends, parties, so many hey, we're having so much fun, we're drinking, pool party. So many I didn't go because I put in my head, this is it. Whether I'm gonna get successful or I'm gonna just do it until I get successful, nothing was gonna faze me. So again, when the end arrives, you should be ready. If you don't pay the price here, then you're gonna pay the price here, which is you're not gonna get shit done in the end. So put in your mind, if you are getting into something that is almost like a journey, you have to start paying the price from beginning. And in the end, it's a little bit easier. It's always there's some panic, some craziness happens, but that happens over the whatever is established already, not you're freaking out. So I can't emphasize enough, I can't say it enough of this, but pretty much you got to be waiting to pay the price from beginning.
Yeah, so pay the price. Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, like if you're pursuing a journey, you're committed to it. I mean, of course, it's going to change the way you approach, your situations and everything, As far as canceling stuff like that, I've never really had an issue with that because, just by nature, I just don't go to parties or anything like that, So
Man, my cousins, that friends, they all... Yeah. Why you're not coming? Why? Leave me alone.
Yeah.
You don't understand. I'm not the same person anymore.
I mean, yeah, I've never really had that issue. I've actually, I've actually really liked to just work on projects, even when I was in school, and even then, at school I wouldn't even do the projects that I had to do, the homework and classwork at school. I didn't really like that. Like I said, I always pursued passion, even in school. I don't like this subject, so I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do the homework. I wouldn't do the classwork. I would get in trouble. And I didn't really care. I would be on the side, writing songs or doing whatever, because that was where the real passion was. That's what I really liked, So I'm gonna do what I like. I don't want to do this, and the teachers will tell me that I was gonna be a failure. The counselor would tell me the same thing, and I would just laugh, Literally, I would just be like,
it's not true.
It would just be I would just be I'm you clearly don't know me, But
no organization could match passion,
Yeah,
Nothing.
And so, but yeah, I mean, pretty much, I mean, find something that you're really passionate about and just go all out, because I think passion, I stress that a lot because I think it's really important, especially when you're going through tough times. That's really where your passion will be like what will really dictate if you're going to stay long enough or not. Because if there's no passion in it, it's very easy to just be like, what, screw this, like if you have no purpose, if you don't have, your heart's not in it, you're pretty much going to just drop it and be like, what, let me just go find something that I actually do like, something that I'm actually passionate for. So definitely do that. And when you do, of course, you have to schedule things properly. And, scheduling, I think, is very important. That way, you know ahead of time, like, okay, like today I have to do this. I don't have time at this time, like at 3 I have to do this, at 4 I have to do this, I don't have time to be going and, meeting up with someone or doing anything like that. I have certain things I have to do. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think passion is very powerful, definitely, because, a long time ago I was thinking about, I want to make 300 videos a year. I had little spark of passion right there, but I never really did it. After years and years and years and years later, you came about and then we talked about it. But that little seed over there, when I had the idea, it had never died. And I just took that, and then we both actually made over 300 videos this year, Yeah. And passion is like amazing, if the spark could start, and then maybe you don't even start right away, but when the time is there, when the environment is there, it just thrives and it happens. So pay attention to your passion. If your passion is whatever, don't do something else. That's given. Let's go to the last question, which is Develop Your Mindset podcast, and this is how we end it. Before that, visit our website, kabarzi.com, and check out the merchandise. And if you guys see something you like, let us know. And if you have any ideas about how the website should look like, we'd love to hear from you too. So then the last question goes, develop your mindset on the last month and hard times. So hard times, I don't know. Again, like hard times, it's gonna be there if you weren't ready for it. Of course, sometimes you get overwhelmed. Maybe if you're lucky, you get instead of 1,000 orders, 10,000 orders, and that could throw you in some hard times. Then that's a good hard times. Hopefully, it's one of those. So for you guys. And the last month, again, the year is only 12 months divided, and you have to think about it from the first month. What you're doing, how you're doing things, and then tackle it. When you hit your 7-8 months, you're already kind of getting late. When you hit your 10th, 11th month, you are definitely late. You can't do anything. Now, whatever you have, go with that, make the best out of it. And then the rest is the first month of the next year. So with that, I am kind of,
Yeah. So develop your mindset on the last moment, the hard times. So I think hard times give you an opportunity really to either you're gonna step it up and really try to capitalize and become better, or you can pretty much hide and retreat and just not do anything and just sort of like let the hard times consume you. So I think you have a choice there. And so here's the thing, like it really comes down, for me, I think it really comes down to you just having the courage to really step it up. And sure, maybe the hard times actually maybe you're not able to actually accomplish what you wanted, and you don't necessarily get to the goal that you want to, but as long as you actually took the action, you had the courage to step it up, and you did everything that you possibly could at the time, I think that in of itself is enough, because you at least took action. Most people don't do that. As soon as they're faced with a hard time, they just pretty much. So if you have the courage to even take some sort of action, do something, that in of itself, that matters, that counts. And so these times come and go. So, the next time, you have a hard time, you'll be more prepared. You'll be like, okay, you know what, last time, I was confronted with these hard times. I did this. That didn't go so well. So this time, let me try doing it this way now. And so, within time, you're going to improve, and eventually you're going to be able to face hard times much, much better. And you'll even be able to help other people at some point, help them, face their hard times, and, help them overcome those hard times. And so definitely develop your mindset towards that. And it's going to be very beneficial in the end.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. There's so much more to say about that, but end of the day, if the hard times is not, it's not focused on losing money or time, especially money. That's okay, because money you can bring it back. So I guess that's what I wanted to say. Don't lose time. Time is valuable. We cannot bring time back. So that's one thing I wanted to put out there, and develop your mindset on not losing time. So that's pretty much it. And with that, we're gonna finish our podcast today. We're doing pretty good, 45, 50 minutes. We're not going 2 hours. Awesome. It's really good content for you guys out there to think a little bit positive, energize, and don't give up. That kind of end of the year podcast. And remember, this Develop Your Mindset podcast, and we're a jewelry company. We go through all this stuff happens here, and we sit and kind of talk about stuff that we go through. Hopefully it's going to help you guys with with your journey and with your life. And so we would love to hear from you. Please leave comments down below, and I think that's it. We will see you next week, and Luis will finish.
Yeah, so thank you very much to everybody who saw this episode, and hopefully you now have the necessary knowledge for you to actually be able to finish this year off strong, and be able to do as much as you can, as much as that's in your hands right now. Maybe you need to make some modifications right now. Go ahead and do that right now, and see how you can make the most out of this year, because you don't have too much time, but you still have some time. So try to make the most out of it, and try to hit all your goals, or as many as you can, and give it your all, give it your best. And so thank you very much. There's going to be links down below, of course, so you guys can follow us on social media. There's going to be links to our book. If you still haven't checked it out yet, there's going to be a link down below, so you can download it, or you can listen to it here on our channel as well. There's going to be a link to listen to the audiobook, and of course, link to our website. Since we're a jewelry company, you can go ahead and check that out as well. And
Awesome. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you next week.
See you.
Develop your mindset.